Good afternoon, folks. Happy Friday, 15th of December. Frank Zorrilla here, Zor Capital. The bell just rang, 4 o'clock. I just wanted to go over a few things. A little weekly recap of what we've been doing. Daily watch list, see how they perform. Are we seeing anything we can learn from the list? But before we get started, some of these Bitcoin plays have been doing extremely well. If you are a ZorCap research subscriber, which is free, it's a free stock of the week, whatever report that comes out every now and then. If you go to my profile, you can see the write-up on Grow and on SSC that we did back on 10/21. You got to find these stocks before they break out. You got to find them before the street recognizes the value, because what happens is you end up chasing. These have been two huge winners, bought and sold, and sold even more today. If you go onto the profile, you see the original write-up of Grow and SSC, give you a little background story on the two of them, and also Travel Centers, TA, which hasn't made a move. You can also sign up for the future stock of the week reports by clicking on this link. And last but not least, if you have an interest in managed assets or want a second opinion in regards to one of your accounts, feel free to email me here at fzorrilla@zorcapital.com if you have an interest in my managed assets program. So let's get right to the list. By the way, big move in some of these names. SSC, I took a whole bunch off today. Grow, same exact thing. Bought here, bought here, sold here, bought almost everything back here, sold here, bought more here at 430, and just feeding the ducks. SSC, same exact thing. Bought here. This is when we had the write-up with Grow. Actually, the write-up with Grow was over here somewhere at 1020. Took off everything here, bought back here. So you got to take these things. Again, you can't just believe the hype with your entire position. You got to buy them, and you got to sell some on the way up. So let's go through the list. This week's list, 12/7. Cray. To me, this has got a great, looking weekly chart. Sideways for a year. This was a big move on, I believe, in some earnings or a contract. Stock goes down for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row. We got involved here through this high. By the way, if you're a short-term swing trader, this scan here down multiple days in a row and through the high the following day, it's a very good scan, okay? So we got involved here at 21.95 and sold some on the way up. This still looks good on the weekly on a weekly level, but you might want to sell some on the way up and buy some on the pullback to play that weekly chart. GLYC, it's another great name, up 20%. We took some off here. They have some ASH data, which we mentioned here in 12/7, long 1442 through yesterday's high. Great box here, sideways for a long time. We didn't get a lot of size only because they were coming out with some ASH news, and who knows what that could have been. But either way, big move, 20% higher. CDNA, another one from the scan down multiple days in a row, up today. Got as high as 7.5%. We got involved here, 666. We're still holding on, looking for further upside. MRTX, another one down 3 days in a row, up today. We took some more today, up 10%. If I'm not mistaken, 1625 plus 12.5%. Got to that 12.5% as well, but we're still holding. Looks okay. VHVN, we had it on the list over here. Did not take, but stocks move. In the short term, what matters the most is momentum and mean reversion. And you'll get momentum and mean reversion from 52-week highs, 52-week lows in the middle of the chart. And this one was down multiple days in a row, printed an inside day through the high, and had a very nice move. We're talking about roughly about 10%, which is not bad. YY, we had it over here. Gapped up the next day, so this was extremely tough to buy if you didn't chase, but had a nice move. Feng, we got involved right over here, up 10%. We took some profits today on some of it, but we're holding on for more gains. Mark, which was a great setup this week or last week, down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row. Inside day, we got involved here anticipating. We bought the rest here in the breakout and sold over here. And again, you know, this is when you get that cookie cutter breakout where it's breaking the previous high, so you want to go buy this. This hasn't worked as well, because when it does work, what normally happens is you get the breakout, and then the next day they'll stick it right back to you. So you need to find these stocks before they break out, and these type of breakouts, 52-week highs or from previous resistance breakouts, they're not working as well. We got involved here, took it off, some here and some here as high as I think 30%, and then it was down 4 days in a row, including today. We got back involved, going through the intraday high, which was 783. So don't, you know, again, this scan here down multiple days in a row, it's one that you want on your that you want to look at. WB, same thing, down multiple days in a row. We got involved right over here, had a nice 5-point move, but it just couldn't follow through. Click, the same exact thing, down multiple days in a row. Very little follow through, long at 24, 39. We took it off as a scratch trade. SRAX, another name on the list from 12.7. You know, got involved with 514 here, anticipating, went long on 12.11, bought the rest as it went through this high. Sold some here, 635, 580, 584, 573. You got to sell some on the way up. That's all I can tell you. Dix, we got involved here, 30.53. Sold today at a loss as it broke the 20-day moving average. TRCX never triggered. Dix, we spoke about. OAS, we got involved here at 10.02. Stock goes up a little bit to 10.25. They announced a secondary offering. Sold over here at 9.06, 9.08. You know, shoot first, ask questions later. When you get involved in a situation with a stock, before you buy the stock, you should already know your stop loss. And based on the difference between the buy price and stop loss, that should be your position size. And then once you get a gap down, you know, look, you can wait 15 minutes and maybe it'll bounce back. But typically what I do is I just let it go immediately because it's done already. It went through my stop. It's over. ECYT. This is going back and forth, back and forth. These yellow arrows is when we bought the stock. Bought some, sold some here. Once it broke back to my break even, bought some here, a little follow through. Sold a whole bunch here as it went up. Got back involved here as it went back through this high on 12.8, and now it's not doing much. This is almost on my sell block. TRCX, nothing there. Intel on the list on 12, 11, did not get involved, didn't trigger the day that it was on the list, and plus the stock has 4.7 billion shares in the flow. You know, it doesn't move that quickly, which is not something that I'm interested in. SPPI, trigger this week, was on the list on 12.11, which it actually triggered and came back in. We had it on the list again on 12.13 and got long in 19.07. It's just pretty much flattish. Marvel was holding up well, got involved here through this inside day, sold at a 30-cent loss just because it just wasn't moving. UEPS is another Bitcoin play. Hasn't, you know, made a move here initially. Hasn't made a move. Didn't make a big move this week. We got involved here going through this high. You know, went up a little. We got involved at 11.24. Went up a little, but sold off. And then we had it on the list today again, going through this high, 11.01, and we bought more at 11.10. Again, it's a Bitcoin play. Let's see if it moves next week, if it catches up to Grow and DRN and SSC and Ryan and the rest of the place. Nothing here. SQ, we got involved here, you know, going through this high, 37.65. Went up immediately. Actually went up. The high here was 38.68. Where was 37.65? Oh no, got involved here, 38.78. Stock goes up $1 immediately and sells off. We get stopped out at a loss. I had it on the list today again. It was looking very good in the morning, going through 37.54. Got hit at 37.65 and sold off. I think the stock can run if it can get above the 10-day moving average and 50-day moving average. But today is sold off. from the open once it triggered. ENPH has been on the list for a few days. Finally triggered today, going through this high, 275. We got involved at 282. Looks okay. Looking for a move higher. Maybe 3.25, but either way, you got to sell on the way up. QURE. This was a gut one. Been holding this one for a while. Not a while, but 1122. It was on the list here again. They had some number with some data being presented at ASH, and the stock had a nice 20% move. So either way, it looks okay. We took profits here, but it's still setting up again. SPPI we spoke about already. GLYC we spoke about already. RDUS is an interesting situation because it was on the list here, stopped out, but a lot of hedge funds have been buying this stock recently. Okay, and they've been buying the stock recently. They came out with some good news. The stock sold off a little. I bought some here, very little, just a nibble, and then it gaps down today on some other news, but it came all the way back up, and I bought a little bit more. This looks good here. I mean, I'm not that it looks good, but it's starting to turn around, and you see this yellow and white line, 10 to 20 day moving averages. The resistance, and now they're curling higher, and now they're acting as support. This is one to watch. Blue, nothing here. Splunk on the list right over here. Inside day going through this high. We got involved here, 81.04. Had a nice move up to this high is 83.88. Almost $3. Sold off here today at the close, but still looks okay. ALNY, we had it on the list over here. Did not trigger. ZGNX on the list here, inside day, bought it through this high, still looks okay. I mean, this is pretty much a high-tie flag. A high-tie flag, by definition, according to Investors Business Daily, stock that goes up 100 to 120% in a matter of whatever, 2 or 3 weeks, and then it goes sideways for 5 weeks, and is not correct more than 25%. And this stock has not corrected more than 25%. So it looks good. Goes through this 50-day moving average, it might be off to the races. Soho did not trigger. Dix we spoke about already. ENPH we spoke about already. Today on the list, ENPH we spoke about already. SPAR triggered. Long at 1583, got as high as 1650, but sold off. UEPS we spoke about already. GCAP, this was a stock of the week here at $8 a share. At $8 a share right over here, had a somewhat of a move, but it sold off. This is another Bitcoin play, but it hasn't moved along with the others. But today we had it on the list going through this high, and it did. Had a nice bounce off the 50-day moving average. Let's see if this stock can catch up next week to grow in SSC and RAI and the rest of the names. BGNE did not, well, actually this triggered in the morning, but there was a $2 spread, so nothing there. SQ we spoke about, and Soho did not trigger. So either way, again, number one, you got to do the work pre-market. Don't chase. Don't chase, because when you chase, chances are that you might have to sit through some type of consolidation or some type of pullback. And normally, when you're chasing intraday, you're probably just chasing based on emotions. So trade them well and be well, and have a great weekend. And again, if you have an interest in managed assets, feel free to email me. So be well.